Next question: what is a snitch?
In my opinion, not in my opinion, in what I learned coming up is that if you partake in the culture and the crime, you cannot then come outside of that culture or crime and expose things just because it didn't go your way. You gotta sit and do your time like a man.
Well, I mean, I won't say that I disagree, but I think that the definition of snitch that they're giving, I would probably agree with that definition too. But we got to understand that there's a lot of different definitions of snitch out there. All the way taking it back to when you were in school, elementary school, and the kid next to you did something wrong, and they might call you a snitch if you told somebody, whether you consented to their actions or not. You ride in the car with your boy, and he's got some stuff on you're not supposed to have. The cops pull you over. He's expecting you not to say anything, even though y'all didn't agree to what he had on him.
Right, but
And
they weren't willing participants.
but no, and we agree. I'm just saying that we can't pretend like we haven't heard people call snitch for something like that as well.
I got you. I got you.
Part of my issue with the snitch song is that Jordan Lucas did and people's definitions of snitch, throughout, from Italian mafia movies all the way on, is that people
So
change the
different.
definition to
It's
suit them.
very. Hmm.
My definition of snitch is a snitch is somebody who doesn't have the power to fight against the more powerful group that says they're doing something that's morally wrong when they got caught doing something wrong.
You made that.
Meaning that pilfer things from a bank. I don't know if we can say that word on, we go purloin things from a bank, right? And then we both get caught. Now we're already robbers. We're already people who don't have high moral character. But I'm expecting somebody who would literally have taken people's lives to get money that doesn't belong to them to hold to this other code over here that says, don't tell on me if we get caught, which is a lesser issue. So all it is people that have the power to go, well, we think that that's worse than we were doing together. So it's okay if you take from people who had nothing to do with anything. That's okay in our code. But you can't tell the authorities that you did it. That's way worse. Booga, 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 booga. This is crazy. So all it is now if he would have had the power and then they would be to call him a snitch, because what they gonna do about it? It's the stronger telling the weaker, your morality sucks compared to mine.
Can I say something on that? It's all in context to me. So you're talking about, like, I guess, the weaker, the stronger, what's worse, what's better. If we're like talking about like the streets, right? How the streets handle stuff. I guess, is that kind of what we're talking about? Is it snitching according to that, or is it snitching by definition? I guess the point is like, if we're talking about snitching, let's use it in context, right? This is more of like, we're not talking about classroom snitching or the Webster definition of snitching. We're talking about the street code and what snitching is. Out here in these streets, if my neighbor does something to me, I'm telling, right? It's different. We're not in the streets. This is normal day-to-day life. But in the streets, it's a different kind of situation if I'm involved in a crime. So if I'm involved in a crime on the streets, that's where snitching means something. If I'm on the outside and I'm a witness, that's not snitching. I'm a witness to a crime, right? I'm not involved in it. If we're going to talk about the code of the code of snitching on the streets. So when it comes to this, snitching by the streets or snitching by Webster, is that kind of what you're saying, Enos?
Well, my issue with even the definition, the street definition you're saying, is that's pretending like the streets is one monolithic structure.
Hold on, you don't have to agree. You don't have to agree with what snitching on the streets is. That's just what it is, whether you agree with it or not.
No. What I'm saying is it's not. I'm disagreeing with. That's not what it is. Anybody who's been around the streets and around street people, it's contradictory. That's why I mentioned Italian mafia movies are the streets. Then you get into the Crips and Bloods and L.A. versus Memphis versus that. You talk to guys on the street. Their definitions of snitch from these guys with the poor education systems is not what these eloquent men on here are saying.
Well,
it's going to be all over the place.
So what's the contradiction, if I may, for clarity of myself and the audience? What do you call the contradiction of street snitching?
So
between street people, between only people that are in the streets.
What I'm saying is the person who has the power of maybe the powers and population, they got more people on their side about what the definition is. They dictate to the weaker people what snitching is that benefit their situation. For instance, right? So let's say that I'm a drug dealer, you're a robber. We don't do any business together. I sell drugs, you rob people, right? And so the thing is, and I tell on you for doing that, you tell on me for doing that. we can lay each other stitches, even though we have no interaction. We haven't agreed on anything together. I don't believe in robbing. You don't believe in selling drugs. We have nothing in common. We don't agree on nothing. We're not the same streets.
No,
but if I tell on you, you'll call me a snitch, and if you tell on me, I'm gonna call you a snitch.
But that's more. Saying. But that's more of like honor amongst thieves, right? If we're all out here doing crime, it's like I'm not gonna, crap on you. You're not gonna crap on me. Whether the crime is right or wrong, that's not the conversation, right? So there also is an honor amongst thieves, right? So that also plays into the street. So if I'm a thief and you're a drug dealer, you're hustling over there, I'm hustling over here. I have in the streets world, I have no business interfering in what you're doing or snitching to do anything like that, right? Now, if I am,
hold on, let Vulcan good time. You want to address that?
Again, Maverick, it's not that I don't agree that that's a definition in there. I'm just saying if the streets was an organization with the SOP or some kind of procedure or protocol, I would agree. Street people are going to say different things in different areas to suit different purposes, is my point. So you're making the streets some type of structure that has a set standard or guideline. That's not it.
But see, it does have a standard and guideline. And just because it has a standard and guideline doesn't mean that people abide by the code. That's why people are punished.
But you're saying the
street
code,
justice.
again, the code. If you talk to Cameron, you talk to the real Rick Ross. The real Rick Ross says the name of the game in the streets is to snitch on somebody before you get snitched on. That's his words.
Thus, why there's normally punishments for stuff like that, and ain't that guy locked up for?
That's not widely agreed upon though. That's an opinion of somebody who was in the game, but that's a singular person. That's a minority of people who agreed that's the case. He may be right, but he's also a civilian now. That's an outside definition, and it's right, it's correct and true, but that's not the widely accepted definition of a snitch or the perspective of what snitching is or how it impacts the community.
Are you talking about the impact of the community, or are you just talking about snitching in general? Because those are again two different conversations. So, I mean, and
then you said the impact of the community, or what was that?
I was just saying he's bringing up the impact of the community, and I thought we were just basically trying to figure out what is snitching.
I meant the criminal community.
Yeah, okay.
Little THE.
But the criminal community and the streets aren't the same thing either. Again, what is the streets?